Welcome to It All Boils Down to This, the podcast where father and son take the kitchen table arguments and heated discussions from their home directly to yours. Jim and Jack Boyle will explore the world as only they can. We might even let a few guests join the fun. So sit back, choose a side, watch the water temperature rise, and enjoy stimulating generational conversation about sports and life. Welcome to episode 41 of It All Boils Down to This. This is a very special episode for Jack and I, as we are the day after the Celtics won their 18th World Championship, beating the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games and completely destroying the NBA throughout their playoff run. Jack, first impressions, what do you got?
Let's just start, and not to be cocky, this is great. That series went exactly how I said it was going to go. It did. I picked them in 5. I didn't expect them to lose by 40, but they beat them. They beat them up in four games. They won 4-1. They won easily. They won the title easily. It's just validation is what it feels like the most right now, and it's awesome. The parade's gonna be awesome. It's probably gonna get good content last night. Probably gonna get good videos out of them partying in Miami. It's just but right now it's just good validation that they're one of the best teams ever. They're one of the best teams we've seen, and they're gonna now get the credit that they deserve. So it's very good.
So you think they get the credit they deserve? Finally, you really think so?
Oh yeah.
Nobody's going to bitch about them now, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. Who cares? What do you go for? I don't care. We won. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. It's such a relief. It's such this thing off your back, and it's been for so long. We went through this with this group of guys, and there has been a lot of losses. They have been young. But it has been a long time, and it's nice to win the way that they won. And it's nice that it's over. That we never have to hear that again. That these guys can't play together. These guys can't win. Never going to hear that again.
We did our last podcast right before the final started, correct? That was episode 40, right before we started. You picked them in 5. Did I say 4 or 5? I don't remember. We'd have to go back and look. But I wouldn't have been shocked if they swept them. I thought that everyone had underrated the Celtics all year long. Not you. I'm talking about the general media had underrated the Celtics all year long. And they had sometimes their nagging issues every once in a while, where they get slowed down on offense or whatever. And I think that they've overcome that. I'm most impressed, to be honest with you, with just the performance of Jason and Jalen, who everyone said, "Oh, they're never in here," until they step up and win. And God bless them, they stepped up and won. And I think it meant a lot to both of them. But it just wasn't just the two of them who have been together for 7 years or 6 years now. And it was really a good culmination of what was a great season. And I know that our good friend Tommy Trevisani will never give them ever any credit, because nobody gives them any credit, because the 86 Celtics were the greatest ever. That 86 Celtic team was a good team, no doubt about it. But again, I live in the moment, and what they did deserves to be right up there with 86 Celtics. They just deserve to be there. How you look at it, huh?
They won a lot of games. I think the 86 Celtics are the only Celtic team in history with postseason, regular season combined, a better winning percentage.
Correct.
So yeah, they're up there. They'll get, again, the reason is you can't give them so much credit now, because it's not even close to being over. That's the thing. Maybe if they never win again, maybe you look back in 10 years, be like, all right, that was it. But they don't get the credit. There's so much more work here.
The Bird era Celtics won 81, 84, and 86. So it took them 5-6 years to win the 3. I would probably expect this team to win at least 2 more to get them to 3. And you never know. And you never know what's going to happen, because, you still deal with a lot of weird things. But we'll talk about the future a little bit later in the podcast. I want to go back to the series against Dallas and look at it and say, first game, Dallas, I think Kyrie Irving was horrible in Boston.
Well, first game was right. So we did the podcast right before the game.
Right before the game.
I expect nothing from Porzingis this series, and I still have him in 5, which was right. Even if they didn't have Porzingis, they'd still win this series in 5. And all the guys going, they need Porzingis to win the title. No, they didn't. But he makes them better. Porzingis in game 1, that was one of the most electric. That was probably the most electric moment of the series. Just him going off like that. That was insane. That was game 1. I don't even remember game 2.
I don't remember. I'm thinking about it now,
I think it was just there's a dominant. They played great defense, dominant, blah, blah, blah. Kyrie sucked the 2 games in Boston. Kyrie, these quotes that it doesn't even feel like we beat Kyrie. He was so useless. Everyone said, we're kind of done with Kyrie now. He can't. It's almost weird how much it's in his head, and how the stuff he says, but still this. He can't pick the narrative. Does he want to be the villain? Does he want to not? Does he want to be friendly? Does he want to not? he's just, it's so in his head that it's like, for us, whatever. We'll boo you when we'll boo you when you're here, but it's not even worth thinking about
And,
Kyrie.
I think you're right. Nobody, except when he's sitting on the garden floor, nobody cares.
Yeah, well, I'll boo him
Now
when he's on the court for
the
sure.
thing
But I'm
about
not giving
Kyrie was
any. I don't even care to root against him anymore.
right. It's true. And but if
He's
you
useless.
go back to the last podcast, the whole world,
Yeah.
I swear to God, the whole world was picking the Mavericks and Mavs in 6 or 7. Everybody. And that was based upon the fact that Kyrie and Luka were this great scoring backcourt. Okay.
Yeah.
Not even giving the Celtics the benefit of the doubt that they had won all these games and they have the two dynamic young players, not just one. And the bench and the depth was better. I just want to go back. I'd love to look at those, what everyone said. I'm going to call out like Tim Legler and who else? Even Stephen A. Stephen A. I think picked the Mavs in 6. I don't know what they were watching during the whole season or playoffs that led them to doubt that this Celtic team was just a better basketball team than Mavs. They were a better basketball team than every single team that would have faced them, even the Nuggets, even the healthy Knicks, even the healthy Bucks. So I think I just don't understand. The narrative goes, well, they lost in 22 and then they choked in 23 and they're going to choke and lose in 24, even though they put together a great team.
No, that they just know it. No one's, like we said all year, no one's gonna get over the fact that like Tatum, it was Tatum. It's still at the end of the day, it was like Tatum and Brown. No one's ever gonna get over the fact that like that they're gonna win. No one's ever gonna get over the fact that the other 2 years, even though it was a different team. And then you saw like Derek White said, people were saying, he had a good quote last night. It's like they were saying all year, like people weren't battle tested. Like, what do you think the last 2 years were?
Right.
That was like the best part. It was like they were saying we weren't battle tested. What was the last? Someone was saying that, but I don't know.
Well, they were saying they couldn't win in the clutch, and they were like the best clutch team in the NBA.
Yeah, well,
because what happens is the games they lost, because they
barely.
lost a few games. Sometimes the team beat them late, so that's the things you see. But like I said, same thing with watching. I'm going to go back to '86 because I saw almost every game '86. If you watch a team every day, and you did, and I'll give you a lot of credit, this has been your championship. You've stuck with these groups. You've loved them since they got Tatum and Brown. You've been with them all along for these last 7 years. A great ride. And you've seen it all. And you watch the season. You see what they can do. You can see where their flaws can be. And they sometimes pop up because they did in the third quarter yesterday. But, if you don't see them over the course of the time, and you see teams in short blocks, especially the playoffs, you would think this Dallas team was the greatest thing since I started last week. And now all of a sudden, except for one game, it was just a complete annihilation by the Celtics. So on that point, where do you think this team, where are the strengths of this team and how do they portray into the future? That's what I want to know.
Well, look, they're young and they have everyone under contract, and like the only guy that they have to like worry about going forward is Derek White. But even just next year, they get the exact same team back. So where is it going forward? Again, like we can't talk about the future. This team, we can't. Obviously, all I'm thinking, like next year, it's going to be awesome. Like, because this year's the regular season still like stressful. It didn't mean anything. Like next year, it's just going to be fun. They're the champions. Next year, it's not going to be can Boston win. It's going to be who can beat Boston. So if they win 65 games in the regular season next year, they're going to get both of them will make first team All NBA. Watch. If they win the same amount of games they did this year, they'll get coach of the year. They'll get 2 guys All NBA. They'll get all this stuff next. You know how this year they might feel they got slighted a little. Next year they're going to get so much credit. They're going to be the team in the NBA. This year was still, are they going to win? Are they going to do this? Blah blah blah.
Right.
Blah.
Do the two Jays really make each other better? I think that's the other thing that is evident in watching this. Jaylen Brown got his big contract and got better. Okay, it doesn't happen a lot. He got the big contract. He got better. He took on the defensive assignments.
It was all defense, Jaylen. Honestly, the biggest difference to Jaylen this year was the defense he played was so much better than he's ever played, and it's just because he played for 48 minutes now. Like he played every single second all year long in the regular season. He built attendance. He did it all regular season. Played defense. Like wow, Jaylen Brown played great defense. He did that all year, and that's where he changed this year to me.
I think that this team, if we talk about All NBA, and of course he should have been All NBA, but if you look at this team again, no respect. They got no respect. I think they know to respect.
They'll get it next year, though. Like I said, they'll get it next year.
We hope they do.
They get so much. No,
they also have the target on their backs, which is fine, right?
We want them.
But I have to say that who are you happiest for, other than yourself? and God bless us, and everybody has to understand. Watching a game with
I
you
don't know.
is probably like
I don't have a
watching a
guy.
game with
I
you
don't
is
have one.
watching a game with you is probably like watching it with me 30 years ago. So I
I
understand.
don't have a guy. No, I don't have one guy. I can't say a guy I'm most happy. Like, there's not one person I would pick there because there's not one. Not
Not
one.
you, not even
It's
you. Aren't you
so
happy for you?
it's the three. It's probably the three player. It's Al, Jalen, and Tatum. You
Right.
probably wouldn't separate the three of them.
Well, I think for Al, it's great because he's older and he's played so long, and all you ever saw was these. Not only was Jalen and Jason taking crap for making 6 or whatever and Eastern Conference Finals. This guy has played 182, 186 games without winning a championship. The only one better is more is Karl Malone. Well, to me, that is they brought him back, and I remember they brought him back. Was it 2 years ago? Right? He brought him back in preseason. Who'd they trade? Whoever they traded, I forget who they traded. Kemba got traded, right?
Yeah.
And they bring him back. And I had said when they brought him back that that's the piece that's missing. That's the leadership piece. The veteran in the locker room, the veteran on the floor, who will help the players who are younger get better. So when he came back, that happened. They made the finals. Let's look at the trades that were made by Brad. All right, it's not really addition by subtraction. There was no Marcus Smart on this team. Do people feel bad that Marcus Smart didn't win his championship with the Celtics? They probably do, but who cares? He brought in Porzingis and he brings in Drew Holiday. He gets rid of Brogdon, who got hurt last year. He gets rid of Grant Williams, who leaves. He gets rid of Smart. He gets rid of Williams, the other Williams, the Williams brothers, and he brings in 2 players to replace them. The question is, what do you say about Marcus Smart now? I know you loved him
I
so.
don't. That's not time Marcus Smart. I feel that it hurt. They wouldn't have won it with him. They need blah blah blah. I feel bad for Marcus Smart. It's like it's probably he's not. He probably didn't have a good night last night. I feel bad because I like Marcus. I have nothing against Marcus. They wouldn't have won with Marcus. Those 2 trades he made this summer were the easiest trades ever, and he even said it himself. The trade that like the craziest trade ever, and I was just saying, you don't make a trade like that Derek White trade in the NBA, where you
Right.
get like you trade basically nothing for like a player, and he comes. I mean, Derek White, like, you know how he was in top 100? He's probably top 30, 35 next year
Yeah.
when they players, and you traded basically nothing for him. That doesn't happen in the you don't make trades like that and get players like him.
What was the trade? What was the trade you were pissed off because they gave him a draft pick? Remember that one? Tice went. What trade was that?
I think they gave him they gave him a future pick. It was
What was
for
that trade?
something last year that got him that did nothing for them. I don't know. I don't care.
Well, yeah, remember that. I remember you hated that trade because they gave him a future. I said, listen, the championship makes up for any future draft picks.
Well, that was probably right after Brown turned the ball over 10 times in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Tatum was firing up, hurt his ankle, and firing up bricks. And I was like, what if in 5 years we haven't won, and these guys like break up? Because if you go a couple more years, if they didn't win this year, it was going to be the biggest like meltdown in the world. So
Correct.
like
Correct.
they did it. It's so different now. The world's different. Everything for them's different. Like I think Maz said it in an article he wrote. It's like it's no longer can they win together. It's how much are they going to win together. So it's just
That's a
it's
good narrative. That's a good narrative to have, isn't it?
a great spot to be in.
So let's go back to last night. The first quarter was weird. You were stressed, I think, big time. Second quarter, they started to play a little bit better. They put a little bit of distance between them.
They had a great run to the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and then continued in the second quarter.
Tatum in the second quarter, I saw something. He had like 13 points, missed a shot, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. So Tatum in the first half had 9 assists, 0 turnovers. That was Tatum. Tatum, like honestly, in the first like 3 quarters, really he played. That was one of the best games I've seen him play. He played like LeBron the other night. That's what I was saying. He looked like LeBron out there. His second quarter was unbelievable. And that's when he got the separation. And then obviously Pritchard hits the shot,
which was incredible, which is the highlight of the whole game. Almost that was the peak of the game. So what stressed you out? Why were you so stressed in the late third quarter? Early
they weren't making layups. I mean, look, they had to just hit a couple shots there, and then it's down to 10, and then it's a game. The Mavericks were because they gave them so much opportunities, and they just weren't going to make a shot. And they played great defense. Credit to the Celtics, but they still weren't going to make a shot. They gave them so many opportunities to get it from like 18 to 10. They really did, in like a timeout, and the building's quiet, and then the Celtics ever call a timeout, it gets to 10. Like, I was nervous of that happening. That never happened because every single layup the Celtics missed, the Mavericks would come down. Kyrie would fire up some crazy off balance 3, and just it would go nowhere near the net. So that's where we got lucky last night. But then again, I think that's just that kind of. I don't think that Dallas team's any good.
Right. So
I'm
the
sorry.
next,
It's not
so
good.
so next year, are you going to get as pessimistic or are you going to be optimistic?
No, next year's different.
The
I'm telling
pessimism is gone.
Yeah, no,
Jack
no,
Boyle
the
pessimism is gone.
pessimism's always gonna be there like that, but the stress level of going into every game is so much different now. It's so much different.
My
Every
favorite,
game is so
my
different.
favorite thing last night was I said, it's 18 points, calm down. And you said to me, Dad, you have to relax. I'm thinking, I am the most relaxed person in the building. I'm enjoying the game. And I've been through a lot of stuff, so it's interesting. But, it's just funny. You start yelling at me to relax. And I'm sitting there, I'm relaxed. You're like going nuts. I talked to Greco, Chris at that baseball camp today. He was the same way as you were. So I think it's just, you haven't really, this is like championship for you guys. I mean, this is the Celtics for this generation. And I think that's great. And for me, it's great. I love winning. I love when they play well.
It's
I
like
love watching them play.
I think my age is the 100% perfect age for this team because it's like I don't really remember '08. Like I didn't follow in '08. I remember watching Game 7 in 2010, but Paul I like I grew up with those guys as like a kid, like Paul Pierce and KG and Rondo's a bit more, but those guys aren't my guys. It was all this Brooklyn trade, the Brooklyn trade. That's when I was watching the Celtics. It was the Brooklyn trade, and luckily they didn't suck they didn't suck long. So immediately, like me and all our friends that we went to high school with, we loved IT and the IT Celtics and that team and Crowder and Avery Bradley and Amir Johnson and Kelly Olynyk and all those guys. Marcus Smart was on those teams. It was so easy to root for them and just the progression and how it went from before we ever knew who Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum was. That Brooklyn trade, we knew it's like, oh, this could be good for us here. And it just from that moment to the moment last night, it was the perfect basketball story for somebody my age who the perfect situation. Because I remember everything. I remember the lotteries, the drafts. I remember watching the draft. Jay Trev's at freaking Market Basket on his phone. I want Jahlil Okafor. Kevin wants Chris Dunn. Where Jaylen Brown? Who Jaylen Brown?
I agree with you on the Jaylen.
Keep the basketball. We're playing. It's 2016. Steph Curry won the MVP. They dominated the finals. Or I think LeBron might have just won the finals. No. That year, who won the finals? Was that the year the Warriors won? Did we get JB? No, because then we lost to Cleveland. And then no. So the Cavs actually had just won, but it's the Steph Curry era of basketball. We need guys who can shoot. We just picked Jaylen Brown. Then again, I wanted Okafor, but we just picked Jaylen Brown.
It's the ones you want to get away that aren't.
I remember everything. And then Jaylen Brown summer. I was sold the first time I watched him in summer ball. If people remember this, I used to call him Michael Jordan because he used to get to the rim like it was nothing. So I was like, maybe like at his peak, we were thinking maybe like Jimmy Butler. That was what we were thinking as peak. He's way better than Jimmy. Jimmy Butler's a loser. And then we go to 2017 the next year, and that's when we got Jaylen Brown. We get the number 1 pick in the draft. I'm running around the street. Markel. We're going Markel. Danny knows best though. Gets his Tatum. You can tell immediately in the summer league we got a guy. Hayward gets hurt. Then we get Hayward on the 4th of July. We get Kyrie. We get this team. That fails. Then we got 3 years later, we got Evan Fournier. Kyrie comes into our building and kills us with the Nets. And it's the perfect story. Honestly, you could talk about the whole journey from like the Brooklyn trade to last night and take it. I could talk about that for 20 hours. All those Celtics games. Oh my God.
Right. So it started by Trader Danny.
A random memory. I remember we were flying to the Villages, maybe like 2021. Evan Fournier. I remember following my phone. It might have been it could have been against the Magic. He was just
Evan Fournier. There you go.
It wasn't against the Magic. He was just drilling threes all over the place. And I was pumped for Evan Fournier.
That was a great trade. Who they chose? I won't worry about.
I think that was Danny Ainge's last trade.
Danny Ainge's last one. So again,
that's no Derek White.
Yeah, I know.
Think about that though. He traded for Fournier at the deadline. The next year, he got Derek White, and they were kind of almost seen as similar like in terms of what you give similar.
I think the Fournier one.
Fournier versus Derek White.
I think Fournier was up here.
Legendary.
Everybody wanted Fournier because he could shoot.
Yeah, Derek White was.
Derek White comes into town, and like, who the hell is Derek White? Again, they were built by two guys, right? Ainge and Stevens, and probably both deserve equal credit. Stevens does because he pushed him over there. Stevens wasn't afraid to trade capital to be better. Danny was always in the process of trying to gather and build capital, right? Who was the only draft pick on their team that won the championship?
Like I said, that was Pritchard. But the thing with Danny and Brad is like they don't win with if Brad was the GM the whole time, they don't win. If Danny was the GM the whole time, they don't win. So like you can't
The perfect storm of everything.
They needed to get obviously Jaylen Brown and Tatum were the most important. So he did the hardest thing to get those to identify those two guys.
Identify them and
what Brad did to make this team an all-time great team, like Danny was not doing that. It was
the funny part is if I look back, because they were two great draft picks, and even Marcus was a great draft pick the year before Jaylen, right? But if you look back,
Dante Exum 2 picks before him.
I know. After that,
Julius Randle, by the way, was in between them. He's on the broadcast last.
There were some bad draft picks after that, though. In reality, so it's a crapshoot. The draft's a crapshoot. You got to make if you get the chance to draft high, you got to capitalize on the draft high, right? Agree with that?
Yeah, it's hard.
Got to capitalize, and they did, and then they brought players in that fit, and they knew that they could go deep with Horford and Hauser and Pritchard and whoever else you think was on the shorter long list. Everyone got to contribute. I think Tillman did a great job in one game to help them to win the basketball.
Three, yeah.
You know, so again, you as they lengthened the bench.
Hauser, by the way, had a phenomenal series. Yeah. He hit a bunch of threes and he played great defense.
Right.
He had a phenomenal series, Sam Hauser. He sucked against the Pacers. Phenomenal.
That's why you have 5 guys on the court.
You know what that is? That's a phenomenal role player. He had an all-time good role player season for a team that was said, oh, I don't know, they only have like 7, 8 guys off the bench, but they only go like 7, 8 deep. It's like Sam Hauser, you'll be all right.
I think the bench overall, or about matchups. You know, Hauser, Horford, Pritchard. Pritchard didn't play well in the finals because he didn't match up well with them because he was small. They were bigger. They were a bigger team. Dallas was. I think Dallas, like, back to that. Just
you want to talk about matchups and you want to talk about like all time. This Celtic team, they might not be the best Celtic team ever, but I think in a 7-game series, it would be hard for any Celtic team ever to beat them because of matchups.
It might be, yes.
Think about like the 80. If they played the 86 Celtics, the 86 Celtics would have a hard time defending them. They just
so therefore we'll sometimes
if they played 5 out on the 86 Celtics, or the 86 Celtics would have a tough time.
Yeah, because the 86 Celtics, right?
I'm not saying they're better than them, but matchup wise,
that's correct. But the difference would be that Porzingis would not be as much of a factor against that 86 Celtics.
Okay, I'm saying, okay, I play Al then.
Someday I'd like to. We could do the comparison someday. If summer would be slow, we can look at comparison stuff.
But who's guarding who in that game?
Who's guarding who?
Can you play all 3 of Parrish, Bird, and McHale?
Oh yeah, because again, it's just exactly what Dallas did.
Is McHale guarding? Like, is McHale guarding Tatum on the perimeter?
Yeah, McHale would have Tatum.
That's not good.
McHale would have Tatum.
Is Bird going to stay in front of Jaylen Brown?
Bird would probably handle one of the. Probably would take White.
I'm just saying it's.
I would think you'd put DJ on. You'd put DJ on Jaylen.
I think this might be the most unique matchup team in NBA history. And it might not have the best. It doesn't have Michael Jordan, LeBron James, but it might have the most, like, in terms of the 5 out.
Yes.
Everyone plays defense on all positions, basically. Yeah. And like they played against Dallas with their 2 superstars. It's like, whatever. We'll just
like I said at the beginning of the podcast.
We'll switch everything. We're going to switch everything. We'll play you one-on-one.
Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, this team deserves this team. And Tommy, if you're listening, Tommy Trev, this team deserves to be matched up with the 86 team. They just are that good. I mean, you have to watch the game.
We'll see. We'll see. The way they get the credit to get matched up with them is they do it again. So
right. Bird did win 3, right? Yeah. Kobe won like 19 because he would have won 20 if he didn't get killed in a plane crash.
Why do you keep doing that?
I just love to do that. Kobe aggravates me like Villanova.
All right, that's not even whatever. Next.
So you really have gotten to see, because you're not a big Patriot fan, I know that. You got to see 3 championships really that you really have been burned in your brain.
I'll go 4. I'll go 4.
What's the 4th?
2011 Bruins. I really do.
Oh, you remember the Bruins? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I remember watching I remember the game 6. I remember game 7. I remember Burrows biting the dude.
We were over it.
And then the overtime goal in game 2. I remember game 7 against the Maple. I remember the Horton goal, or was it Horton?
Right.
I remember all that. So I remember that.
We were over at Russell's,
up 3-0.
Russell's pool parties for the Little League team. They were watching the game in the little bunkhouse they have out there.
Yeah, so 4. I'll go 4.
So we'll give you the 2011 Bruins, 2013 Red Sox, which you got to see clinch the World Series at home. 2018 Red Sox, and now the 2024 Celtics. Excuse me. We'll discount the Patriots because you and I are not Patriot fans. How do you rank those four?
This one's it's number one by far. I mean, it's just the journey of everything. It's by far number one, by far, because you're just not going to get a story like it. I love the 2018 Red Sox, but it was more dramatic. It was more everything. There was more tension. There was more it just, you know what I mean? Nationally, just everything. It was just bigger.
Yeah.
Basketball's bigger than baseball. That's just what it is. But like the team and Mook, it's almost that Red Sox team was quite similar to this, where it was like that was perfect age for me. Where
Right.
I remember I have a Xander Bogaerts blog account from like 2013 before he got called up. So I was following all those guys, and that title is like it's all these guys winning that I've been following for my whole
That's a really good point.
guys.
That's a good point.
So it's similar, but this one's it's just more.
I think it also gives you
It's more personal with the players too, because it's not like there's so many more baseball players. With this, it's like Jalen and Jason and those like.
That's a really good point that we've grown. You get to grow. You grow with the team as the team grows. The two J's and
John Henry doesn't understand. It's like I'm rooting for players as much as I'm rooting for the team. I couldn't care less about the Red Sox right now.
Well, we're talking about the Red Sox till next week.
I know, but my point is, I could care less about
the Red Sox. They're actually
even if the Red Sox make thank you.
They're playing well.
Okay, that's great. If they make the wild card, I don't care because they just don't have They don't have enough players that I care about. So, like I said, I'm a Red Sox, but I root for players. I root for players. Yeah. Like, I know what's the sign that you root for the jersey? I root for players. That's just what I do. I root. Obviously, I'm a root for but I don't care. But I root for the players, and that's why the Celtics team is so great.
That is a perfect answer for.
It's like the Euros are on right now. Soccer. I got my guys. I'm rooting for Portugal. I declared my allegiance to Portugal today just because Bruno Fernandes has been playing so good the past couple of months.
You know what sucks? Why do we always talk about freaking soccer? I'm sick of soccer.
Because I was watching them.
I'm sick of soccer.
I was so happy.
I want to talk about the Red Sox, and you give me shit, and you want to talk about soccer, so I'm going to give you crap.
I just say I'm rooting for players. I like
the funny thing about the Celtics winning is the spotlight now is all on the Red Sox.
No.
Right? What are they going to talk about? Drake May? The Drake?
Yeah, but I don't. The Red Sox, who care? It's like win or lose. Who cares?
I care though. I care. I like
Kenley Jansen. Ooh.
Huh?
Nothing. Whatever.
I think first of all, before we go back to Celtics, the Red Sox manager, Mr. Core, is making a ton of money. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, good manager.
I like the direction that the pitching staff is going. I like the direction that the front office is now going to take. Now we'll see.
That's great. They're in a great.
We'll see if Henry opens up the pocketbook or not.
Yeah, you're right. They're in a great direction. Well, they're going in this great direction, as you say, but they're going to let go of the best manager in baseball. So who
knows if he will? Or are they going to pay him? Who knows?
Yeah.
First of all, it's just like
it's one of those things.
They had their Tatum and Brown, right? And they got rid of their Tatum. They let their Tatum walk. Celtics didn't have that happen. Basketball's been different. So
Tatum, they're getting that contract done as we speak. They'll get done after the parade.
On the for the postseason, Celtics postseason, how would you rank the postseason series against each team? So they beat Miami, they beat Cleveland, they beat Indianapolis, they beat Dallas. What would you rank? Because they weren't really exciting. Somebody said they were boring. Well, they were dominant, and they only lost 3 games. So that's saying something. But of those, let's go to those 4 series. To you, from a viewer and a Celtic fan, where do you rank those 4? With rather the tension that was drawn out or the fun you had? So you got the first game against the Miami.
They were all like the same. The Eastern Conference Finals was like it was like they were like one series together. It was all the same thing. I don't know. I enjoyed the finals. I enjoyed winning that game 1 was great. Winning game 2, winning game 3 when it was like to get up 3-0, and then last thing was great. The finals by far, just because we won.
And game 4 was an anomaly. It was just outside the box, and that's what happens. Dallas had to win the game to not get swept.
The thing about how good they are is they went 16-3 in the postseason here. They won more games in the postseason than the Pistons won this season.
Oh, they did?
That was gonna be whoever won the title. So but the other thing is, so they played this so good. Porzingis barely played, and Tatum, ready for the stat with Tatum? Tatum played, he led the team in points, rebounds, assists. Nigga, he shot on shooting on jump shots. He shot 29.8%, okay? Shooting jump shots. As a point of comparison, during the regular season this year, this guy shot 29.9%, 0.1% better than Tatum in the playoffs. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now I know Tatum's taking a lot more like sidestep threes and stuff like that than Giannis and like volume of that. But like, what happens if Tatum's like hot shooting wise
Right.
in next year or
Well,
something?
again, I think teams have to you have to pick your poison with the Celtics, right? And they decided. Dallas decided they were going to let them go 5 out, and if they miss their threes, we have a chance to win. Clog the middle, which is all what they did all the time. It took Tatum. Sometimes Tatum got a little bit too ball hoggy, just like Brown. But again, it's just these guys are good. These two players are so criminally underrated nationally. I think that it's just, to me, it boggles my mind that you're going to tell me that Devin Booker and Kawhi Leonard and everybody else is that much better
They
than
won't be. They
Brown.
won't be. They're both top. They're both gonna be top 10 players next year. They're gonna. There's
I
no
will
way.
guarantee
No
you
way.
right now that Brown is not a top 10 player in
Yeah,
those
no.
lists. No, he's not going to be.
Brown still
I
suffers
guarantee
from
not top 10.
Brown still, I think I see this online. Like Brown still suffers from like the Tatum, like people hating on Tatum, where it's like they don't give Brown real credit. They're like, oh, Boston, it was great to see them win with their one-star player, Jaylen Brown, and their other role players. Like people, it's almost like the people that trolls only like give Jaylen credit to troll Tatum instead of actually being like Jaylen Brown is way better than all those guys you just listed there. Way better,
He
way
is, and I
more
think,
reliable. Who would you rather have on your team? Not even
and like I said, I'm going to go back to my statement. It's going to be this team, criminally underrated nationally, had a great season. I don't even think I think they'll get credit for winning. But now you're gonna now again. I love the talk narrative.
But they're plus
I told you what would happen.
280. They're plus 280 in
I
Vegas.
told you what would
Next
happen.
best team's like
I
plus
told you
600.
what would happen all series. They would bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch. They never won anything. They always choke. Now they won. You know what they're going to say? They're not
They
legit
aren't.
till they
They
win
really
two.
aren't. Yeah,
They're not
well,
legit.
that's fine. Yeah, but that's true in the NBA. You're not a legit like great franchise dynasty in
Because
the
the
NBA.
last 6 teams have been different teams, I think they said tonight, right?
I know, but if you're talking all-time great teams like the 86 Celtics, they don't just have 86. They got other years where they
81,
were
84, right?
third. But
Or
yeah,
the, or the
it's a great time to be a Celtics fan. It's
I agree with
a great
that.
era of Celtics basketball that we are in, and it's
And now
nowhere near over.
now those right now those kids that were born in 1919 or 2019, now they can celebrate they've had a championship during their lifetimes.
If you think about it, yeah, that's true. But if you think about it, like realistically, the way those guys seem to be taking care of their bodies and the way NBA primes work, barring any like freak injuries, at least both of them have another decade at a top.
Yes, they do. They do. And they'll also play off,
10,
play off each other.
10 years. 10 years. So think about like with this super loaded team they win. Now there could be issues within the next 10 years, but say they win one more in the next 2 years with like this team they got now next 2-3 years. They only win one more in the next 3 years. If they're together for the next 10 years, all they got to do is like get hot one year and win one more and they get three.
Right.
So it's like, think about how much they have so much time. We'll talk about them.
That's it. And you know, they have a lot of time. There's only one thing that's the greatest news of all, though. They don't have to worry about not winning because they've won. So, like you said as a fan, I agree with you. You say a fan, now you can go forward and say, let's enjoy the run now because now you've won.
Oh, the regular season next year is going to be awesome because there's nothing. It's never going to be like, because when they would have a bad performance in the regular season, be like, they can't do it. It's over. When they have a bad performance next year, it's going to be like, all right, let's just go to sleep, wake up tomorrow. We'll be fine. No one's gonna freak out when they lose in Denver next year. No one's gonna.
The narrative of the fact that they've never won and they can't win and the Jays can't play together and break the Jays up, that's all been debunked. We'll say. I look forward to the next couple of years of this team because they're fun to watch. Again, my only worry is you're gonna piss. I'll piss you off now. I want to. My only worry is that coach is a kook. He's a crazy. That coach is crazy. Mazzulla's crazy. He's batshit crazy.
I'm telling you, he's the American Pep Guardiola.
I don't know how long his batshit crazy is going to play. That's all I worry about. And it's not the bad thing. It's a good thing. You know what?
Yeah, come on. It plays. What do you mean it plays? Have you seen what they say about him?
I know what they say about
Derek White. Did you see what he was saying about him? Derek White basically, you can tell Derek White was not an Ime Udoka fan. You can pretty much tell. Basically, this is stuff. He's like, I love Joe Mazzulla. He changed my career. Because Derek White, you can tell, is not the most like confident in himself, and he credits like everything to Joe Mazzulla and the guys he plays with. But Dad, you saw him and Tatum hugging each other after the game. Tatum, that kook stuff.
No. I agree with you on that. I'm just saying that
I'm telling you, Tatum's never gonna have this moment where he egos up. I don't think so. It's just
I think both of them do.
I know it, but that's the thing with the coach. They love the coach, and the coach understands that. Look at what Drew Holiday said about him. Drew Holiday's won everything in his career.
What are we going to do though? What are we
He's
going
made me a much better player.
Like,
The fact that they have this coach and him being a coop makes this even better.
That's probably true.
He's got like a little like, and again, it's gonna sound crazy, but if we're calling them one of the great teams ever, with the way the players talked about him, everyone again, Porzingis, Hauser, Pritchard, all those guys, he's got like Phil. He's a little Phil Jackson.
I will say this. Like I said, when they win, I give him a lot of credit. He did a great job. I have no problem with what he did. He stuck with his gun. I give a guy who this is a lot like Belichick.
I don't want just though. You have to admit,
he stuck with his gun. He stuck to his guns.
Who's a better coach for this team, him or Ime Udoka?
This team.
No, you're not getting credit for apologizing if you don't answer this question because it's the easiest answer. Okay. Then
no. First of all, he's the best coach for the team because they won with him.
Perfect coach for the team. No,
that doesn't mean though. That's what I'm saying.
Got the best out of them more than
he was the best coach for this team. Does that mean that he will be the best coach going forward? I think that's the piece that has to be as he matures as a coach. Because the league is a copycat league.
Keep it up.
The league's a copycat league. They're all going to be 5 out.
Look. You can try and copy it. You can't copy Joe Mazzulla. So no one's.
Not Joe Mazzulla. I'm talking about
You can't copy Joe Mazzulla.
All right, but I give him credit. You know what? He won. Got to give him credit. He won. But he did. I'm just saying he's cool. He's crazy.
That's good.
He is crazier than I am, and that's crazy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but okay. Again, like was Phil Jackson crazy?
Phil Jackson was just a weirdo dude, crazy, just like this guy.
Pep Guardiola also played. Like, Phil Jackson. You see what he said about Pep Guardiola? He's like he really helped me with spacing going into this finals.
Phil Jackson also played like 12 years in the league too. So
yeah, Joe Mazzulla was a legend at West Virginia.
Legend at West Virginia. Oh, no, but
I thought Al Horford's 3 years old. No, it's great having this guy as our coach. They were even talking about it. It's like he's gonna be here for a while. It's great having Brad Stevens. So
the family, the way you know what, he did a great job, and he won, and that's all.
Those guys would die for him. Those 5 guys, they love him. It's just like KG and then with Doc Rivers. They love him. They love him.
So there's been news since they won the championship.
Oh my God, Van Gundy's gone.
He's leaving.
Yeah, it's sad.
Go to the Clippers.
You know what?
He's the first assistant.
That sucks.
They're going to lose him.
That sucks.
They lose what's his name going to Charlotte, right?
I don't think Cassell's going to leave now. I think they'll just give Cassell a ton of money and be like, "You got it." So Charles Lee's going to Milwaukee, Charlotte. Did you see there were like a bunch of Charlotte players in the locker room last night?
Oh, there were.
Grant Williams was in the locker room.
Who was?
Grant. It was like that.
Oh, he was in the locker.
Grant, Brandon Miller, the kid from Alabama, was there.
Did Smart show up or not?
The Charlotte guys, because that's their coach.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah,
the Van Gundy thing. All of a sudden, I'm reading. I said Jeff Van Gundy going to the Clippers. I said, holy crap, that was quick. He had to have that lineup. I think Van Gundy wanted to get back on the bench, and I think he felt like if you go back on the bench with Mazzulla, it wouldn't work, and he understood that. So you go into Tyronn Lue, who's a more veteran coach, and that'll be interesting to see. So as we wrap up this year, give me highlights? Highlights from the year.
Oh, I have to think about that. Pritchard shot. Porzingis run. I'm trying to even remember. The shot Jaylen Brown hit against Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
Smacking around the Heat after they beat us in game 2, just going down to Miami and killing them, even with Porzingis hurt. There was so much stuff that happened in the regular season that I probably just can't remember.
Yeah, but the playoffs. You hit the playoffs. I think the Jaylen Brown shot was the biggest shot of the series of the postseason. It won game 1 in reality. It went overtime. I don't think they would have lost that series, but Indiana.
That's another thing. Like it's just been a pleasure to watch Derek White since the time they traded him to right. It's just like every game he gets better, and he's just he's like I don't know, the way he shoots the ball. He's one of the best. He's so good. I was gonna compare him to like a Steph Curry type shooter. The way he just fires the ball. He doesn't make as much, but I think he's underrated as a 3-point shooter of how lethal he is. And you can't, because he can hit from anywhere, and he can hit from off the dribble. And he's just been such a weapon. And then obviously he's the best shot blocking guard, maybe in the history of the league.
So who's your favorite player on the team?
I'm not answering that question. There's no
Derek
answer.
White. You just told me it was Derek White.
Yeah, Derek. You know what? The reason everyone says Derek White is because that's easier than saying Tatum or Brown. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
also Derek White.
And Mr.
Not gonna
Holiday
fit.
Mr. Holiday frustrated you a little bit last night in the middle quarters.
Did you
But
see him miss that layup? I don't want to be mean here if he hears this, but Kyle Ritson would have made that layup. He would have.
I don't think Kyle's a listener.
Kyle
I don't think
Ritson,
Kyle's a
no, Kyle Ritson last night when he saw that Pritchard half court shot going, that's what he used to do all the time. He just fire up half court shots. That's what Ritson lived for. Ritson used to dream about that probably. Like he would be at the North End Cares. He'd be thinking about hitting that shot that Pritchard hit last night. So that's a good that shot that Pritchard hit was a Ritson
shout
shot.
out to good old Kyle Ritz. We talking about it. We talking about all the boys. So again, a great win. It'll be fun. Parades. It's today. It's Wednesday, right? No, today's Tuesday. Tuesday night.
Friday. The parade's Friday.
It's Friday because it's going to be hot as hell here in town for 2 days. And then we again, as we get ready to move on, we can move on to we'll talk Red Sox as we go forward. It'll be a fun summer. It was a great spring. I give you a lot of credit. You've stuck with this team, like you said. You've grown up with this team. You've been with, and you're not a bandwagon kid. You've been with them all the way. You do get a little pissy at them every once in a while. It's something frustrating as you follow or watch. But I have to say that I was sitting in that hotel room out in Cooperstown on Friday night, and I said to Mom, I says, God damn it, I love them to win, but I'd really rather be home and watch the game at home and have the game watch them with you. And then they started to really suck. And I thought, this is not good. He must be going nuts. So, but like I said,
it also is nice winning at home too in the Garden. Because you don't get that stuff at the end, like all the confetti, like all that stuff. Like that was great. It was just great.
So we wrapped the Celtics season up with.
I think Wick called Lisa Salters Michelle. That was funny.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle, you're a good friend of ours. She did a good. Oh, let's shout that out. I thought she did a great job with the interviews. I thought that was first class. She got everyone involved. Whoever's directing her to go did a great job. I'm going to go back to the announcing group. Breen's a great announcer. I had no problem with Doris Burke from the majority of the time. People are pissy at her, but she doesn't say anything more stupid than a guy would have said.
Yeah. People are mad about like the production aspect of it. Like it almost wasn't dramatic enough.
Well, it wasn't dramatic enough because they were killing everybody. There was no drama. The drama was when Pritchard hit the shot and watching the reaction of the whole team. That if you see all the angles of that's one thing I love to watch again is all the different angles of his shot.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, have you seen him that?
Yeah, the face he
drops. Yeah.
Like that. And you see Holiday run across.
Well, wait, this randomly before we got the biggest, I think it was Zula last night. Someone was like, what do you think about like everyone calling you like a great coach now? He's like, that's as dangerous as someone calling me the worst coach.
He's crazy though.
He's nuts. He's absolutely nuts.
He is completely batshit crazy. No doubt about it. But again,
he's not putting on like a character though. That's the thing they said.
I think that's who he is, right?
Last year they said he tried to be. He wasn't as much of himself as he was this year. And this year he's been the craziest.
Well, the other thing this year that you got to give
Drew Holiday was talking about them. He was talking about them practicing without like passing the ball as like an NBA team. It's like he's never seen an NBA team do that.
I also think that he was very benefited by having all those guys on the bench. They were smart to bring people in to help him, and he utilized them completely. So again, he won. He's the youngest coach since Bill Russell to win. But Bill Russell on his basketball team. So like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was a great run. It's amazing. It seems like it was forever ago. I was saying to you earlier, we started our podcast. Was it probably September-ish before even basketball started? So I like to go back. I'll have to go back to some of our old podcasts and see what we were saying, because I remember you were not allowing me to talk about the Celtics. We always push it. Well, let's wait till the playoffs. We don't need to talk about them until the playoffs.
That's true. It was always so bad last summer. It's always because you didn't want to talk about it because it's so bad. It's just like, give me one more chance. Let's just do it, and we did it. So I never have to talk about it.
But I said during the podcast, you would always push it off on me. I've had
I know.
Put them on the list. Why don't we wait? Why don't we wait? Well, again, it was worth the wait. I'd like to go back.
Actually, even during this playoffs, I didn't want to podcast much because I was just like, let's just get this. I don't want to talk about this. Like before game one, this is one of my takes here. I gotta say, I didn't want to say this. Kyrie Irving, and I'm not saying he's not a really good basketball player, Hall of Fame level basketball player. He's one of the most overrated basketball players of all time. Like all you hear is like the most skilled player ever. And then him and Luka, the best backcourt ever. What are you talking about? He's nowhere near that. He's a good number 2/3. Not anymore. He hit that shot, but he's He's nowhere near this greatest skilled player. Steph Curry's the most skilled player if you want to do that. What are we talking about?
Or he's got
I watched Steph Curry, but the
yo-yo.
handles good with the handles. I watched Steph Curry dribble all over against us and get himself open and make threes against us all day long 2 years ago. Kyrie Irving's not doing that. They're not even comparable. So all this most skilled player ever, he's the best basketball player. Watch. He's not even close. He's not a top 25 player in the league. He's not.
Okay, so
honestly, who would you rather have on your team? Who would you rather have on your team? Him or Drew Holiday?
well, because you don't need to score, you want Drew Holiday.
100%.
I don't think the Dallas is going to trade him for Drew Holiday straight up. Though.
I don't think so either. It's a Lillard Holiday.
He fits in the certain ecosystem of Dallas. That's the difference. Play with Luka.
The more I think about it, the Celtics, like most teams would rather have Kyrie than Drew Holiday, but the position the Celtics are in, like they would rather have Tatum than Luka Doncic, just because I think they like what they have right now.
I would never trade Tatum straight up for Doncic in a million.
They have the most perfect basketball team right now, where there's
here's the
they need to make.
question.
They're so far ahead of the NBA right now. The more you think about it,
final as we wrap up,
they broke the lead.
What are the players you would trade straight up for? Jason,
I'm not doing that. No one. Why do I have to say anyone? We just want to talk.
So your prediction is Jaylen Brown makes top 10 NBA players?
Yes.
The next listing. I think he's 15. I don't think coming to 15.
Dude, if he's behind Jimmy Butler,
he will be behind Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's aura.
You have to get rid of all cable, all ESPN. I'm doing this based off the ESPN rank.
Jimmy Butler. He's like the top 10 player in the league. If he's behind Devin Booker,
how many times?
I'm telling you right now, he does not belong behind SGA. He doesn't. He's better than SGA.
Do you know how many times Jimmy Butler's talked about winning the Finals MVP?
And he's never won it.
A million times. He's never came close. Jaylen Brown has it. Don't tell me Jimmy Butler.
I didn't bring Jimmy Butler. You did.
They pulled that on me.
You brought Jimmy Butler up.
We'll do our top 10 players before next season.
Yeah, and I think that
I'll figure out where I want to rank the guys.
I want to, as we get to the summer, I'd like to try to get, we're going to try to get more guests. So Tommy T wants to come on, so you and he can argue about Jaylen Brown. A lot of people want to come on. I like to try to get some more guests in. Since we Zoom now from home, we'll be able to do a lot more with regards to that. But again, I give you credit. We stuck it out. One, you picked him in 5. I don't know. I must have picked him in 4. You think you picked him in 5 because I don't want to go.
I know I picked him in 5.
Right. So, but again, it was a great year. Great to be a Celtic fan. It wraps up nice. We're back to the City of Champions. I guess we got our championship for the first time in years. Next closest team to a championship other than this one: Bruins, Celtics, Patriots. Red Sox, Bruins, or Patriots? Who's closest?
It's probably the Red Sox because just the way the sport works, it's just easier. It's hard. Like it's the easiest sport I think to win it is probably baseball. Yeah, it's the hardest to win with a good team, but it's the easiest to get a good team.
The way they run the playoffs now,
it's so hard in football because you need the quarterback. It's so hard in basketball because you need the star dudes. You need the upper echelon guys, which it's so hard to get, especially if you're like, you got to get them through the draft, and it's so hard to do that.
I think the Red Sox will. I think the Patriots. I think the Celtics win one more before the Red Sox get to the World Series.
Celtics are gonna win like 10 more.
No, I'm saying they'll win one more before the Red Sox get to the World Series. Again,
they better.
That's how I look at it.
They better.
Hey, like I said,
if they don't win next year, it'll be a disappointment. But that's just what we're in right now. But
you going to the parade Friday?
Yeah, probably.
All right, you're going to get some audio for us or something? Talk to those crazy fans. Any of the friends going to have Jay Trev go on the parade, or he has to work?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Kevin go on the parade?
I think it's right next to his house.
And Chris can't go because he got baseball camp with me.
That's too bad.
That's the way it works. It's going to be like 99 on Thursday. So, any last words on this great season we had? Everyone, everyone's happy. I think everyone's happy. You should be. We get some good night's sleeps here as well. Last word, final word on the Celtics before I wrap it up, Jack. Final word this year.
Nothing. Just I was right. I mean, just like I've been all year about the Chiefs. How I was. Final word. I was player Carlos Alcaraz winning the French Open, which we didn't talk about.
Don't hurt yourself.
I've been right about everything. I am so Man United winning the FA Cup. I'm so hot right now in sports. It's not even funny.
Oh, Scotty. You had Rory McIlroy winning the Open.
I wanted him to, but I had my one lock of the year in golf was Scheffler to win the Masters. I have not lost. So like I said, before we leave,
I'm going to lock you up on the British Open then. We're going to lock on them. You can just tell me your locks. We'll do that next week.
I don't know, but you can't make me give a lock. I gave that Scheffler lock because I was like, this is a lock.
Okay, you're Mr. Nostradamus.
I don't have a feel for a lock of the Open.
We're going to call it. We're going to
You know what the lock is? You know what the lock is? You know what the lock is? Carlos Alcaraz wins Wimbledon.
The lock is my fantasy team gets his ass kicked this week.
Yeah, against me. Wait, Carlos Alcaraz, Wimbledon.
Is that what you're right now? Okay.
Let me see if I'm getting this as a lock. Wait, before we go.
What?
Go. Tell your little thing. I'm getting the odds.
So we have a lot of free time.
Alcaraz is only plus 140. We're not doing that. If Djokovic is plus 380, so if Djokovic shows he's healthy, we'll do that.
Djokovic going to make it to Wimbledon?
I think he faked the injury, is what people are saying.
He got knee surgery.
He said he tore his meniscus and got like knee meniscus surgery. He's like all of a sudden. I think he's one of the he's an X-Men.
We'll see. I say here, Rory wins the British Open.
No, I wish, but no. I can't talk about Rory. There's too much.
We'll do that later on. So, like I said, we've got a lot of time this summer. The Red Sox are going to be going through their stuff. We can talk.
You think like Tatum and Brown went through it? Well, Rory's. Ooh.
That's true too. Ooh. All right. So the final word is Jack was right.
Correct.
He should be happy. This team won. We had a fun run here in Boston. Can't complain. And just a shout out to Tommy Travisani, Jaylen Brown, MVP Finals. Jaylen Brown, MVP Eastern Conference Finals. One of the top 15 players in the league. Jack thinks he's top 10.
More titles.
Sure better than Damian Lillard.
Oh yeah, a lot more titles than Damian Lillard. Yeah.
Yes.
Real. That really worked out for Damian Lillard. Actually, really helped Jaylen Brown get a title. So good job. Good job.
So and that's like I said, Celtics win. Everyone's happy. This household's happy. I love winning is so much fun. Losing sucks the most, but winning is more fun than losing. No, winning is more fun than losing sucks, because if you don't lose, you can't enjoy the winning. That's my philosophy on everything. Having been like a loser for 40
That's years. Tough though. Losing really sucks.
It does suck, but you know, winning is more enjoyable.
Winning lasts longer, but like it'll last like 30 years. But the loss, like in August, I'm not going to be thinking about the Celtics championship.
I'll tell you right now,
Jack. I was thinking about the loss last year.
Right now, Jack. I'm still thinking about the 75 World Series the Red Sox lost, which is almost 50 years ago now. So
see, I don't have those moments with this Celtics team. It's not like we really like choked.
Bro, you don't have the moments. They got smoked by Miami last year.
All right, but whatever. We would have had to beat them.
All right, hey, the Celtics jersey. I got my 01 777.
I'm out of here.
All right, so Jack's leaving. For all it all boils down to this. That's Jack Boyle. I'm Jim Boyle, and we'll see you on down the road.
Thanks for listening to this episode of It All Boils Down to This, recorded at WCTV studios in our hometown of Wilmington, Massachusetts. We are always open to any ideas, critiques, topics, and guests. So if anyone out there in podcast world needs to get a hold of us, we can be reached via email at jboyle22@comcast.net. Along with Jack Boyle, I'm Jim Boyle. Make sure to tune in to the next edition of It All Boils Down to This.